Hello, Texas. Welcome to the Hello, Texas podcast. On this episode, your hosts Tim Murphy and Steve Peters talk with bassist Michael Moad with the Triston Marez Band. They discuss Michael's journey to where he is now, the friendships made along the way, and his favorite artists that influenced him. And finally, each of them lists the 5 bands that made them the Texas music fans they are today. We hope you enjoy the conversation.
Hello, Texas. It's Steve and Tim, and our special guest today is Michael Moad of the Triston Marez Band. Is it Marez? Marez?
Is there a band on the end debated?
So how's it going with Triston?
Oh, man. It's moving a lot faster than we thought it would.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the ones that, not that many people know who he is yet, but he's already opening for y'all are opening for some big people. Aaron Watson last night.
Yeah, Aaron Watson, Cal Park. And we had John Wolf the night before. That's John Wolf, Randall King, Josh Ward, those guys like really at the forefront when we started. They took us on, especially Randall. I mean, me and Randall go way back, but he's the whole reason I played for Triston Marez.
We did LJT last year,
right?
And we shot it, and I remember Randall and a few of those guys, and them kind of going, "Hey, have you heard this Triston Marez guy?" And I'm like, I've heard the name a couple of times, and once I heard the name, started looking around in the crowd, you start seeing Triston Marez t-shirts. Well, wait, that's something. And I actually started going back looking through some pictures, and I don't remember who it was, but I remember somebody having on a Triston Marez shirt at the backyard during the show. I have heard that name. And then it kind of it perked my ears up a little bit and started paying attention and went, oh, this kid's making some noise.
Yeah, man.
And and he came through late last year and got a chance, to see you guys and talk to him a little bit, and just a really, really cool guy, and y'all country. and I like that. It's cool.
We try, man.
What led you to Triston?
Randall, 100%. Like Dalton had planned on, going. He wanted to do the house show stuff. He wanted to do a lot more acoustic stuff, which I if you've ever seen a Dalton Domino acoustic show,
Absolutely.
like it's amazing. So I understood, and especially with the new music he was coming out with, it was more songwriter driven, which is,
it's very personal.
He always gets better at songwriting, which is insane to watch over time. But no, he was real honest and was just like, I'm gonna go mostly acoustic. And I was like, well, I'm a bass player, so
what do you do with that?
I'm gonna look, and no hard feelings if I find anything.
Yeah.
And originally, I just got this call from Randall, and he's like, are you for real gonna do this? So I was like, yes, I believe so. And he said, okay, well, when you get the call, take it. I was like, all right. Waited for weeks, no call came, and then finally this call came in, and they originally had me slotted to come play for another band that was going at the time, and he was like, I actually want to stick you. And it was Alex Torres, the manager. He manages like managed Kylie Ray and
I know exactly
manages Jamie Lynn Wilson and Shotgun Rider.
That guy's got an incredible. He's got an impeccable something. Somebody help. Leave me hanging here, Steve.
I don't know what you're looking for.
Reputation. That's the word. He's got an impeccable reputation.
Yeah.
Thanks for leaving me hanging.
Yeah, he was a drummer for. He's actually a drummer for Tracy Lawrence for a while.
Wow.
As well, yeah.
Wow.
He's an instrumentalist kind of manager, which is cool.
So he knows, he can see it from both sides of the fence.
He takes care of everybody,
Which is always kind of nice, right?
Yeah, he's always looking out for our interests because he's been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he called me. He's like, and Triston makes fun of me for telling this story, but I'm always like, man, this kid from Houston. 2 words, as a slot filler that you don't want to hear is, kid, Houston. Nothing against Houston, but there's not too many, country acts coming out that I know of.
There's a few.
There's an underground there for sure. But at the time, I'm trying to look for something that already has kind of its gears rolling. I'm getting older.
not looking to lift something off the ground.
Yeah, and but I'm ready to dedicate to in my mind, I was like, I'm just going to try out, give it my best, show Alex what I'm made of, and if this doesn't work out, maybe down the line, he has something for me that I'll want to take. And I listened to the kids' music, and I was like, "What? Wait! That's unreal." And he, we got that first show going, and I think that's really where it clicked for me. Is like you said, you saw shirts here and there, and I assumed because it was like maybe 4 or 5 people. And it was his first time with a full band. We played at the Twist, and we played the show. And I just assume it's family. They were singing all the songs. I'm like, some friends or family, came out. And we get out of there, and he gets upstairs and he goes, "Did you see all those people singing my songs?" I was like, "You don't know them?" He was like, "No." I was like, "High five, let's go!" Like, yes, like,
oh, really?
Unreal. Yeah, unreal. Like,
because normally when you see a bunch of people at a show,
it's one of those moments.
You know who they are,
yeah.
But you've invited them.
Yeah,
but that wasn't the
That's
case.
That's what I just assumed, and that was great. Either way, he had supporters, But I'm just sitting there like, what is this, But man, he's very humble, and he's always ready to grow. He's very coachable. Like, he's just, I'm getting to be an old fart in the scene now, but like, here's this kid that's just ready for anything. And like,
so you feel like maybe your time in doing chasing around, musicians and stuff, you feel like you may have a little bit of knowledge, some wisdom, that you might be able to offer. And
you're the old man of the group, right?
Yeah. I got
Which
Ryan.
Doesn't mean you're old.
I got Ryan by 2 years. So like, we got Maldo on now. So I think Maldo's older.
Who's in the band?
So we got Ryan Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
He played for Zach Stokes, all kinds of guys like that. We have Paul Stock. I'm gonna mess up his last name. It's German. Stokis. I don't know. I can never get it right.
It's your fault.
Paul
You don't have an easier
Steel,
name.
Master, man. Like, he's great.
So he's the new one of the group.
Yes, he's the newest. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So he played with Shotgun Rider.
Really?
Yes, sir. And then we have Dylan McConnell, played for Shotgun Rider. Cameron Hobbs. We went to college together at South Plains with Randall and all them. But he's seasoned as well. And then me and Triston. And then we have Greg Maldo run the ship.
That's right. I met him he was at Copeland. I say Copeland, but it's Copeland.
Yeah,
Yes, actually,
he
Copeland.
he was with Randall before us, and I've known Maldo longer than I've known Randall.
Really?
Like, I used to play for Maldo back in college.
So you mentioned South Plains and going to school with Randall and who else was there?
Cody Angel.
Cody Angel.
Man, if there was a Hall of Fame, I hate to fangirl on you right now, Cody, but if there was a Hall of Fame
Cody Angel too.
in South Plains, Cody Angel's face would be up there for sure. Sterling Massat, like we saw him last night. He plays for Aaron Watson. Yeah, he's a utility player. But that school has pumped out so many instrumentalists, and people wouldn't really know, but some of Javit's guys, Will's guys.
There's got to be a 30 for 30 on ESPN or something about South Plains at that little section of time.
We've always joked that there's going to be a book written about, like, especially that time period of Lubbock. Cleto was, fresh on the scene, and Dalton was fresh on the scene. Randall had been around, but was fresh on the scene as far as Blue Light and all that stuff. But like, those times are comparable to the 60s and 70s for me, especially if you've seen Festival Express, like that camaraderie of like meshing art, and like there was no ego, none of that stuff. There still isn't. But
and that's
like,
really cool. Whenever you can set ego aside, just play some dang music.
I think that's the Texas scene in general. I mean, you have some guys that are more quiet than others, but like, for the most part, everybody's just like willing to.
And I think that's really cool because you guys are fans of each other.
Oh yeah.
And you see that so much, and you see that through the support of wearing, each other's, merch all the time, know, and I think, until, I don't know if that ever stops or when that stops or whatever, but I do. I like that. I enjoy that part of it, the camaraderie that comes with it. And I think that happens whether you're a product of Lubbock or you're a product of Waco or
we
Austin.
Always thought it was just Lubbock, but we were wrong. Like because with Lubbock, and I love Lubbock. I wish,
but it does have something special there. No,
you're out on an island out there, like you're several miles from anywhere, like major cities.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's always the running joke out there. It's just like you're just kind of on an island, so there's just play music, drink, play music, go see shows, go to a tech game, but I adore that place so much because the musicians there are very honest with each other.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if anybody was messing with any of those people,
They shut it down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell every singer-songwriter I've ever met, I'm not a singer-songwriter. I'm a fan of them.
Yeah.
Completely, and that's because of Blue Light and Dalton Domino and Cleto Cordero and Randall King. But, the Monday nights there are special. It's something else.
So Monday nights, whenever the action happens.
That's the thing about it. It could be 100 people and they're watching the singer-songwriters do their thing.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's just the singer-songwriters themselves.
They're supporting each other.
But there's a lot of them that come up there, and don't drink. They're not there to drink. They're there to, workshop, work on their songs, the shows are awesome. They're great. And that's Steamboat as well. I mean, it's really any of the festivals is because, we're all, for the most part, everybody's friends. And, we don't ever get to see. That's the one thing they don't tell you about music.
You don't
if
get
you want
to see
to play,
each other.
Don't ever get to see your friends, unless you're playing a show with them or you're on a festival.
Big festivals where everybody's.
So,
I've seen that.
Yeah. So when you get a festival going, it's just one big screwed up family reunion.
Catching up in the nighttime.
It is pretty screwed up.
It gets out of hand sometimes. But
So beyond the Lubbock guys that you started with, who have you developed friendships with throughout the state? I mean,
man, it's a little sidebar thing, but we did Ranch Factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell everybody with anybody that does competitions, because that was a big thing for Dalton coming up, is he did the Larry Joe Taylor competition and got that on a wild card, and that changed everything for Dalton. But we did Ranch Factor as well, and it was tough because we were going from Lubbock back to Fort Worth. I played for 30 minutes.
Ranch Factor's like the Fort Worth. Everybody's Got Talent, or the local music show in Fort Worth.
And it just we were doing that after doing weekend shows, in my Jeep, we're already tired and everything like that, and just kept going at it. And I always tell everybody that wants to do any kind of contest, I'm like, man, try to win. That'd be great. Be great for your career if you win. But what's even better is the networking side of it. And everybody gets so huff puff about the word networking because they think it's like kissing up or something like that. No, veterans know when you're kissing up. No,
networking is talking to each other, sharing information. And
Austin Meade, that's where I was leading to with that. Is Austin Meade? That's we it would have taken us a little bit longer to meet Austin Meade because he was in College Station. We were in Lubbock. And our paths crossing at that time where it was slim, few to none, and we fell in love with those guys.
He's easy to make friends with.
Oh yeah. He's great musician, man.
Oh, and he's rock and roll.
Yeah, well, and dude, that mentality too really comes from Cross Canadians guy or from Cody's guys. I mean, that's Jeremy Plato gave me that. That's my hero. And the first time we opened for him, I'm sitting there loading out at my fridge with no wheels on it. I'm like lugging it out. I hear this voice behind me go, "What do you need that for?" I turn around, it's Jeremy Plato. I'm just, Hi, I'm Michael Moad. I'm a huge fan. Alabama's my favorite. I love your bass lines. I love everything you do, man. He's like, that's cool, man. Thank you. He's like, but what you need that big thing for? I was like, oh, man, y'all not done or something? And he was like, no, you can just use mine. I was like, oh, man, backline, that's awesome, man. I was like, well, let me grab my pedals real quick and I'll catch up with you. He was like, what you need them pedals for? I was like, you can use my pedals. I was like, no, nobody does that. No way I can just use your pedal board.
But it's just, to him, it's just pedals.
Well, dude, he said that. He's like, me and Cody a long time ago playing together, we always promised we'd never be those guys that are just, huff puff, I'm bigger than you kind of stuff. We're all musicians. We all chose a stressful but fun, but crazy career choice. And I firmly believe that since Plato told me that, just why would you treat a musician any different? That's the only person that understands what you're going through day to day. Why would you treat them any different?
And I think that's we connect with musicians because y'all are you tend to be creative types and we just make different art. Sometimes the processes and the struggles are still very similar.
And you've always been one, before I even knew you, that appreciated the photos.
Oh,
I mean, everybody that takes photos of Moad, the next day you're like, oh, great photo. I mean, and
I love it, man. I love photography. I'm not very good at it, but I love. I mean, it's art, you know. Like I can't cut hair, you know what I mean?
You're one of the
but
most photogenic musicians on the stage. Sometimes in a bank robber way, but sometimes
depends on what time of the year it is.
Well, so let's move to that. You know, as a bass player, you know, sometimes bass players aren't always. That sometimes some guys, they just get up and they just sort of do their thing, and that's it. And there's do your thing, little chicken wing. I ain't trying to throw rocks at nobody. But then there's some of you who just go into your own world. I believe that you're enjoying what you're doing. I believe that you enjoy playing the music that you're playing. And that in itself is a draw that makes me want to stop and listen, even if you're not my bag.
See, that's huge.
Not saying that you're not, but even if you're not, sometimes that energy that you have may be the thing that catches my attention and stops me for that half second and goes, oh, well, let's toe tap to this.
The secret is that's what makes a band successful here in Texas, and that's why when I saw y'all playing on stage with Triston, y'all are just got it. Y'all, it's just a matter of time, kind of thing. And I think you saw the same thing when you heard the music. You're like, okay, this is the energy that I want. So that's what we're drawn to as photographers. You know, I can take one picture of certain musicians that just stand up there and play, and I take one picture, I'm done, because that's all they're going to do.
Right.
With y'all, I could stand there for 6 hours and never get the same picture twice, and I
really appreciate that. It's a huge compliment. I listened to Bo's episode, and I think I might have to take after him. I'll be a plan B to him. Well, you know, I'll take his headstone idea.
Michael and I were trying to plan just a Skype interview or something over the phone. We weren't ready for this just 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, and it didn't work out. So I just happened to talk to Bo and ask him, and he stepped in. So when I told the story, he said,
my favorite takeaway from the story is that, like, I am the plan B for a bass player. So that you're for Moad too. I'm talking about you, Michael.
That in itself is a Lubbock thing.
They're all plan A. Everybody's a plan A.
I want to talk about it a little bit. Can we take a break and come back and talk about that?
Yeah, let's take a break.
So let's take a break. We'll be right back.
We're gonna do it. We'll be right back.
All right.
And we're back. Hello, Texas.
Hello, Texas.
So we're here with Michael Moad of Triston Marez Band.
We were just talking about the air conditioning. We was talking about this day and age, and I'm changing. I'm adjusting the air conditioner on my phone because the thermostat that is 20 feet away, it is more than I can bear.
One of these vacuums the floors. I don't know which one it was.
Is that one up there? Is it one way up there? Okay, I like that one.
I feel like I'm like at a news conference.
Well, we do too.
It's awesome.
This is our 4th episode. First one was Skype. Second one was in my little studio. Last one, it was kind of a surprise on having a guest. So we kind of threw it together, and we learned so much that now it's a learning process.
We enjoy bringing our friends along to join us while we learn how to do this, and we hope we don't lower your value now.
I don't think y'all could, honestly. The bar's pretty low already. No, I don't know if it goes much lower.
In the world of bass players, your bar's pretty high. So
maybe on stage, man, but there's way better than me.
Here's the thing: you're obviously if you ask Bo Boffing, you're like a A and he's a B, so you're like a plan A. So you're the baby we didn't kill.
That's the name of the episode, the baby we didn't kill.
So
I can't wait for Bo to watch this episode.
Me too.
I can't wait.
I love you, Bo. So you're not too far down there.
No, I guess not. But man, just this scene, and you really get to see it when you go out of state. But like, this scene is filled with just
I
monsters.
have that perspective from out of state. We obviously, Melissa and I being from Georgia, there's a few of the Texas bands that we know them only from shows in Georgia or South Carolina.
Yeah.
My first Randy Rogers band concert, I think it was Randy Rogers and maybe Way. Or
Stony Jab
and was that the
Melissa back there behind the camera?
Oh, sorry, yeah, Melissa's back there. Hey, Melissa. Melissa's running all the cameras and stuff for us, and she's holding it down. So, hey, girl, what's up?
You get a salary at some point.
Who knows? I'll get back with you. You'll send me a bill.
I'm waiting for that check.
Get that check, girl. I hear you. But that's kind of how. So we've seen it.
Yeah.
Everybody's accustomed. Here's one for you. People struggle whenever I tell them this. Imagine Randy Rogers with only 300 or 400 people in the show.
Like,
I used to go
he's
to
so
radio
amazing.
shows with 100 people at it, and they would come out to the where everybody was in Gen Pop, and talk to people.
Gen Pop is where the general population is at, unlike the privileged who were able to go backstage and mingle with
say
schmooze.
general admission, but like I'm changing it to Gen Pop.
Gen Pop.
That makes it sound so
Gen
much
Pop.
darker.
But just for anyone looking to go ahead, dear. Gen Pop for the commoners.
The secondary
Gen Pop.
title of the podcast.
That's what I'm calling it from now on, is Gen Pop.
So how did you get here? How did you become a bass player? How did you fall into this career path?
So, I mean, the instrument originally, I mean, that story is like most players, especially instrumentalists, were in church bands. Like I started junior high, and we had a really cool church that would, most of the time they pay their musicians to play.
Right.
We were kids that could play, and they're, if you play in a church band, we'll let you use our equipment.
Where was
Cut
that?
every single bit of that
at
out
that
because
time-
they're going to want to pay the people we have in our church.
Oh no, if they do it,
We're not
That's-
paying them. So
That's usually like mega church stuff. I think.
oh yeah, we're not there. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it in there.
Yeah,
you keep
no.
it in there. Don't cut it out.
But I mean, we just want to play, and
Where was it? I'm sorry.
Temple Baptist in Odessa, Texas.
Okay.
It's they branched into a mega church, I guess, if you will.
Oh,
but,
cool.
But it's cool because like some of the, I don't want to say the elders, but like the elders of the
Yeah.
church, they've been there forever.
Yeah,
Ones that didn't really agree with the move, they bought a piece of that property and stayed
So
there.
there's a church
A
split.
smaller church.
Yeah. So there's a split come out.
Took it back to its roots.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
But either way, I I hate to tell this story because I like to say that I play bass, only, but like I picked up a guitar like 13, and my buddy was like way better than me.
That's the B plan people.
Yeah, well,
All people in
it worked
bands.
out that way, and we were talking about rock bands before this,
Yeah.
and Metallica's Black Album. That album and their S&M album, strangely, because it had the orchestra
San
with it. and I
Francisco
loved
Symphony
that.
Orchestra,
Yeah.
and it was 1999, 2000, I believe. It was a 2-disc album.
Jason, their bass player, man, he really I started watching videos of him because I was
Jason
already,
Newsted.
Mhm.
Yep.
And he has a solo they did for Cliff. And
yeah.
it's a live deal, and
Yeah,
that's one of the
Cliff
first
Burton.
things I learned on
Yep.
bass because it just, man, it
No way.
spoke to me, and it was things on bass that you could only do really on bass. It wasn't something that you could really do on a guitar, and
And they
fell in love
were
with it from there.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guitars are fun, but like I love bass more.
So kind of, really, kind of a lot of Metallica influence in there as well. Church.
Yeah, I
Metallica.
was a big rocker. I grew up, like most, on the country standards. you
Yeah.
know. And a lot of Johnny Paycheck and stuff like that. But really, high school, it was mostly, rap, rock. I loved R&B, like especially being a bass player. I love R&B.
Nate, give me a couple of R&B, a couple of rap artists real quick.
My favorite, I'll just give you my favorite R&B album of all time because it has Pino Palladino,
I'm
the
listening.
bass player he's known for John Mayer Trio and playing with The Who.
That's where I know it from.
Yeah. He's the only guy that could fill Ant Whistle's shoes for sure. The only man that could fill that man's shoes. But Pino Palladino played on the his name is I've lost it. I just worked this whole thing up and I can't remember the name. It's one name R&B singer too. He was known for being like naked in a video, and they didn't show anything, but it just like spins around and while he sings. It's like early 2000s. I can't remember.
We got Melissa looking it up. What was it? Palladino.
Look up naked R&B
No,
singers.
R&B.
Oh my gosh, Slam Jones and Bo are going to murder me for
Because we're gonna leave all this in. Would you like a lifeline?
Yeah.
Can we get Bo on the phone? You think Bo would know? He's the plan B.
Sam's the one who'll answer.
We'll start with Bo.
Oh man, every bass player that is gonna see this is gonna be like, "How dare you?"
Let's see. So we're calling Bo Bopping. He was on the last episode, and we're gonna see. Is this coming through? I don't know if you're able to. Oh yeah, I hear it coming through. This would be great if he answers.
Bet he don't answer.
He's not gonna answer, is he?
Bo never answer.
He doesn't know your number, does he?
He doesn't ever answer.
Have you got a message you want to leave him?
Yeah, give him a message.
Leave him a message.
Hi, Bo. This is Moad. Just seeing how you doing, bud.
He don't know that he led us up to Bo. Listen, what had happened was he led us all the way up, and this is going to be live, by the way. Thanks for not answering my phone call. Or not live, but on the podcast. So he built us up to this great big build up for favorite R&B band, and just build it all up, with this great bass player and all this stuff, and we get there, and he can't. He doesn't know the name of it. So we just want to see if you could help him out with a lifeline. And well, as a typical plan B, you've failed us. And that just, dang. All right. Love you, buddy. Bye.
All right, let's call Sam Jones. Let's call Sam.
Is that okay?
Can we call Sam Jones?
Yeah.
Let's, yeah.
I'm going to have to tell him not curse.
No, he's all right. You should be holy about there. And I think he'll be good.
D'Angelo, we already solved it. If he calls me back, we'll answer. It's typically me. Yeah, I love him so much. I forgot his name. But man, and really that bass playing, D'Angelo, like with Pino Palladino, like any bass player that's ever played the instrument knows that name for sure. He's John Mayer Trio of the Who, like I talked about.
Yeah.
That and Erykah Badu. Ooh, one of my favorite. Oh, they're slamming. Let's tell them what happened.
Yeah.
Hey, boy.
Sweetie bee.
Hey, you're on a podcast right now.
Hey, boy.
Hey,
Sam.
Sam, oh my God, we got Slam on the phone.
Hey, so they were asking me my favorite R&B album, and I forgot the name of D'Angelo.
Listen, well, see, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. I just got done telling Bo this on his voicemail because he's kind of snooty and he didn't answer his phone. That's what I get for making him the plan B to Moad. Anyway, he built us up, this great big build up, man, just for this incredible R&B band, and like he built us up. I mean, it's going to be great footage. People watching it, whenever they get to that point, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear this." And then he just dropped us like he couldn't remember the name of it. And
Oh my God.
so you,
I'm such a fan. I forgot D'Angelo.
Just so you know, you are his plan B for a lifeline. We call.
No, I told him Bo. I told him Bo wouldn't answer.
That's true. He did, but we called Bo first.
Bo 100% will not answer 99.8% of the time.
Yeah, because he's kind of a snob anyway. So
He's got a fiance.
All right,
he's got a
Slammy,
girlfriend.
we love you. We were calling you as a lifeline.
Hell yeah. I got the lifelines and I got a 50-50 boy.
All right, Bubba. I love you.
Bye, Slam.
I love you, dog. Bye.
All right, bye.
Sam.
Well, he's got the lifelines and that 50-50, boy.
I don't even know what that means.
I believe
I don't
that's a
know.
reference to the lifelines of Who Wants to Be
I
a
got you.
Millionaire. So
Of course, Sam's the genius. I'm sorry we just went on that whole
No,
spiel.
I am
That's all
not
right.
sorry we
Just
did.
to find out D'Angelo.
I'm okay with that.
So
So is it pretty safe to say you kind of like music just all the way around?
Yeah,
It sounds
yeah.
like you
I mean,
do.
there's stuff I don't. It's something that I don't dig, but like I'm big on. I don't really trash it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
somebody
that's
else's
music.
art.
Well, that's music.
Yeah.
that's music for you in general. If everybody liked it, it'd kind of be lame, I guess. You have that contrast.
Yeah.
I don't like the people that are like hate people that don't like something just because it's popular. Like I don't like that at all.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good.
I love Billie Eilish. Like Billie Eilish and her brother are geniuses.
I'll fight people now over Billie Eilish.
I get it. I absolutely get it.
I have a 16-year-old daughter,
you know
so I don't have a
Kurt
choice.
Baxley is?
I don't think I do.
Look up Kurt Baxley, his latest project.
Okay.
I am a huge.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of friends in radio that I've sort of turned that on to, and I said, "What station you play it on?"
Nobody knows.
And they go, "Well, I'm not really sure." And they said, "Well, I could play it on R&B." Well, but it's not necessarily R&B. It's sort of the pop station. Well, I could play it on the pop station, but you know what? There's this really cool hip hop vibe, kind of some trap music laid down up under it.
Yeah, beats.
And
Lo-fi beats,
Producing.
what my daughter calls it.
Producing. I mean,
absolutely.
Engineering.
And it very much is. And he's just and he's just got this ridiculously smooth flow, and I like it. And but it's not everybody's lane.
No, and that's the same thing. And that I'm gonna not try to go too deep into this, but like there's a lot of conversations about like pop country and the stuff that comes out of Nashville, and there's a lot of people.
I like Lanco. I like Lanco.
We talked about them last week.
I heard that on Buzzkill. Of course, I
just liked them.
100% makes sense that he put that dude in his list, for sure.
Yeah.
But man, it's. Man, I love Luke Combs. Like I like how he approaches it. I mean,
I like some of it.
Have you listened to Casey Musgrave's, last album? She realized she was pop. She leaned in and made good pop.
Yeah.
Good pop.
And I think that's just
good
it.
Pop. Just
go for it.
If that's Taylor Swift, and a lot of people have a lot to say about her too. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, well, she understood that she was already making pop in Nashville and decided she wanted more money, so she went to LA to make pop in LA.
So found the bass, went to school. Did you go to a school for music, or what did you go to school for?
Actually, that's something I'll probably kick myself for a while. I originally moved to Levelland. I lived in Odessa. I worked in the oil field, making great money. Just kind of, I had just gotten back into bass, just kind of for fun, and my buddy Adam Nunley grew up with him since we were kids. Came down. It's like, you played bass in church, right? And I'm like, yeah. Do you still have a bass? Yeah. You have an amp? Yeah. He's like, come play for my band in Levelland. We already got gigs, everything else. I was, you sure? I knew 3 notes. I didn't know what they were called, like at all.
Just played what sounded good on the radio.
Yeah. And moved out there, and luckily Aaron Carter, she's a nation-known fiddle player. She's up in Seattle doing this. Seattle actually apparently has a great country scene up there. But she's up there doing that. And just all these greats at South Plains, they were the well-known ones that were, out there doing it. Either way, luckily they took a chance on me. Like, saw that I was hungry. Like, I say hungry. I wanted to learn, and I could pick things up.
No, that's hungry. No, that's absolutely appropriate.
Yeah. I had sports terms in me, man.
No, it's we get that very much.
But at the time, I couldn't really afford, and I didn't apply for any grants or anything like that, so I couldn't really afford to go to the school. I didn't even know it was there when I moved there. I'd never even been there before in my life, but like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I always loved music, but I coming out of Odessa, and this isn't no slam towards Odessa, because there's a lot of guys out in Odessa right now that are changing things for sure.
This wasn't happening there.
No, you had music that came in, you didn't really have music that came out, and then you go to Lubbock, and there's just this whole
that's that was the place to be at the time.
Bubble, like even your professors at South Plains, you're seeing them play like Fridays and Saturdays out at local bars or like things like that. Yeah, but I didn't get to go to school for like 2 years, and that was like torture for me.
Really?
Like, oh yeah, I actually exchanged moving there for a flight to Vegas for my 21st birthday, because I moved on my 21st birthday up there, and I was supposed to go to Vegas, and I was in like a list of 3 people to get a tattoo by Kat Von D, because I was like super into Kat Von D at that time. I was gonna get her like pinup style on my ribs or whatever, and my parents were doing that for me and my family, and I just kind of went to them, and I was like, I just take the money we were going to spend on that and just move out to Levelland. and just really the rest of it is honestly being around musicians and like intertwining with them is one of the most important things in the scene. Like skill can be taught. You can't teach grit, like the being on the road and like being away from your family and like going through hardships and stuff like that. You can't teach that stuff, and you can't teach, you know, that like bond, that camaraderie kind of stuff.
I've heard it referred to. I don't know if it's
I learned all that in Lubbock and Levelland.
The hang.
You mentioned your parents. Do they support everything you've done? Have they always supported you?
I think them, like most parents, are concerned.
It's a good word for it.
You know what I mean?
How old are you?
I'm 32 now, and they're probably even more concerned these days.
You are an old guy in the scene, ain't you?
Yeah.
Really and truly.
Well, yeah, man, I'm young in the state, because that's how I always view things. Like when we say kids, I heard Bo say that a couple times, like referring to Lubbock days, and it's funny to view it that way, but as a mentality as a musician, you know, like you kind of start your life over whenever you do that. So like you are young as a musician, you're young.
Sure.
Like Tristan's not 17, but he's, you know,
he's a kid.
He's young as a musician.
He's young
yeah. They're just worried. You know what I mean? Like they didn't really understand it. Once my mom came out to a show, and now, you know.
So I met your mom.
Yeah.
So
so now you know how it is, because now it's like because I mean she was the same way. I played football and I played hockey at Permian, and like you know, she was that crazy sports mom that was like yelling like louder than anybody, whistling, about to get kicked out of the game, like because she's yelling.
Wait. You played football at Permian?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't no starter.
Okay, well, I was going to say, like, for those that don't know,
I was
Permian,
a garbage football player.
Y'all may never know, Permian is like, they made movies about it.
I actually, my grandma still lives there. My grandfather taught there during those times. You know, he actually made it through, I think, 10 minutes of the movie and got up and walked out.
Really?
Yeah, because he was a teacher there at that time, and they say something about that the coaches make more than the principals do, and he like got up and walked out. Yeah.
Didn't mean we were a sore subject.
No. Like Odessa.
Since your mom, we've met your mom, and I you know, I don't know what. I never had any consideration or thought to what Michael's mom would be like. I've met Bo's parents.
Let's be real careful with this conversation.
And it makes total sense with Bo's parents.
And I've met Bo's parents, and I will tell you, before I knew Bo was this really nice guy and nice kid, and before any of that, I would not have ever expected his parents to be who they are.
Oh man! And
then you get to know Bo a little bit, and you go, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And then you meet his parents, and you go, "Got it."
Makes absolute
sense.
They're the sweetest people ever. Yeah.
And just
his whole family is
so
like
grounded, you know. And then I've never really thought about it, but I've never really considered, what would Michael's mom be like? Well, we know Michael. He's a great guy. Well, his parents are going to be one of two ways. They're going to suck. Really?
They definitely don't suck.
Or they are going to be off the wall amazing.
Yeah.
And then I meet his mom, and
I can see how you get that.
I was still wrong. Off the wall amazing, because she definitely doesn't suck. So off the wall amazing still doesn't do it justice. When we want to talk about a super mom, your mom is just super mom. I think everybody in the world should have a mom like your mom.
She came in with the hot hands.
Yeah, I've actually listen. It was
she
really
can't buy
really
just
cold.
2. She has to buy like 45 of them.
You go look in your front of my bag. You know what's there?
Those
That your mom gave me. You better believe it, man. And
it was a cold one on the backyard.
She's the one that takes care of everybody
she
at the
takes
show.
care of everybody, and there wasn't a single person whatsoever going, golly, man.
We have the same mom, by the way.
No.
We have the exact same mom, if that's the case.
Such an amazing human.
Yeah.
And
if she could have gotten away with it, she would have been buttoning people up.
and it's not just you, but everybody else. So
she's band mama.
But you still get special treatment.
And
you can see
that makes sense. If she was sports mom, it's real easy to be band mom after that.
It's cool having her there. I think mainly it was just like, I'd done all these things in my life that, I didn't really stick with or anything else. And then like now I'm playing music. Like, okay, but like,
well, we'll let this phase go through.
Yeah. And I knew once she saw a show, like she would understand a lot more. And like now we've also gotten a lot closer. I mean, we've always been close, but like we've gotten a lot closer. Oh yeah, I got 3 sisters.
3 sisters, older or younger?
I got one older, one older, 2 younger. Yeah.
Any of them in music or?
My youngest sister, I believe she's 9 now. She plays guitar at school, which is awesome because she's getting super into it and discussing jazz chords here soon. Does
she get any cred for having a brother that's in?
Oh no, Wiki. Nobody needs to know about me.
Talking to Michael Moad just about life and everything, and we're going to talk about our influences. Last week, talked to Bo about his favorite 5 guitarist. I don't know if you know 5 bass players, so we're going to do something. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
25 to 100 list I can do.
But but that was almost, here's what we both realized, and neither one of us said anything. I think we both kind of knew you was going to come in here prepared.
Oh man, to do your 100% right. I listened to Bo's and I was just like, all right, I got my one set up.
And you had said that earlier because Steve said, so do you want to do this topic or do you want to do this topic? And
well,
you went, oh.
And in our previous conversations, just talking about what you like, I think it's a good topic. Is our 5 favorite bands or albums that have made us who we are in Texas music. Is that fair?
Yeah.
You go first. You're our guest.
Okay. I would say, and Dalton knows this one far too well, is man, I didn't know much about the Texas scene. Kevin Fowler was like my first Texas artist that I'd seen live. I saw him at Grand Central Station.
My friend's first artist.
Oh, dude. Especially because I was like in that rock and metal, and like I watched Kevin Fowler's show. And I was like, whoa, like.
So what is this? He was on the list last week.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't my first, but like that was my first taste of Texas music. Ray Wiley Hubbard's Country Blues, like that song.
Let's come back to that.
That song changed everything for me because I was huge into blues at the time, and he showed the similarities. Like I love the saying, "Easy to play, hard to feel." Especially with country is everybody thinks it's super easy to play, especially the shredders. But man, there's a science to it, and you have to feel it a lot.
The who?
Oh man,
what is it?
John Entwistle.
The shredders.
Dude, John Entwistle was. I mean, the dude was the pioneer of the bass. Like that guy, my generation was considered like one of the first bass solos on electric bass.
I get it.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I think Zeppelin actually took a lot of stuff from them, at least style wise.
Wow.
So Ray Wiley Hubbard, that was.
So who is your one? Kevin Fowler, or Ray Wiley Hubbard?
It was Ray Wiley Hubbard for sure. Like Kevin Fowler definitely opened the door because I love judging a band really, and like I might get hated on for this, but like I like seeing a band live first.
Yeah.
And then that really gets me more into their album. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's
absolutely.
just me, but like,
I
like
Fowler opened your door, and Ray Wiley Hubbard kind of was sort of the influence.
that was the thing I listened on to track. I played in a band called Logan Taylor and the Thunderbirds, like out in Lubbock.
Yeah.
And Logan, he showed me, and then I'll save that story for my next one because that ties into my next
You go next,
man. Would I say Cody Cannon or Cross Canadian Ragweed?
Yes.
Okay. So, and because
you'd get in trouble if you didn't. Apparently,
I tell you, I think they are the ones. Everybody doesn't know this story, so it's just kind of come up. I'll go ahead and I'll give you my tie to it. Aside from Cross Canadian Ragweed being who they are. That's sort of where we get our name from, the business Crackers and Cucumbers Photography. The cracker part kind of comes as as kind of an old nickname sort of thing. And then I sort of own it, and I own it to another level. You see me wearing just shirts that say Super Cracker. You know,
I want one of those shirts.
yeah, I mean, man,
we got to sell those.
You know, and I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, I worry about that a little bit because I'm always kind of concerned that people are going to take me as being, you know, a little on the racist side. And once upon a time,
I think you're just having fun. I don't think that. I think that's the opposite.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what Melissa says.
You're laughing at yourself. You're not laughing at somebody else.
What does Ray Riley say about irony? Is nobody gets it? So.
Yeah, well, and I think that's just it. You know, and I want to be somebody who makes a difference in something, and I don't want to be somebody seen as somebody who's stirring something up and that being a difference.
It's hard to get away from that these days.
Yeah, and I think so. So I sort of own the cracker part, you know.
So the cucumber.
The cucumber part, I'll tell you, actually come from a cross Canadian ragweed song.
Okay.
Bang Your Head.
Oh, dude.
Bang my
head. Sorry, Bang My Head.
Yeah.
And so the story of that goes, it is a reenactment of an old 1967 Saturday, I think it's a 1967 Saturday Night Live skit with Charlton Heston. And I forget which one.
I did not know this.
I forget which one of the guys from the band. I'd have to go back and look, but it's actually one of the guys from the band during that time did the reenactment. And it starts off just very simply, "Let me tell you something, cucumber.
Let me tell you something, cucumber."
And that was and whenever I very first found this music, whenever Melissa turned me on to it, you know, and I'll name off some other bands because I got some other ones that are going to fall into it. Cross Canadian Ragweed, that was the very first full Red Dirt album that I'd listened to is one that had that on it. And I listened to that thing. I was a service tech in Atlanta at the time. And I listened to that thing on repeat for a couple of weeks. And that one song. So whenever I call her, we talk on the phone or whatever, you know, I started calling her Cucumber. And because I thought, because first of all, I thought she was like some insane stalker fangirl kind of thing. I thought the music was really, really good. And I thought, well, I've never heard of them. So they don't play them on the radio. So they can't be good.
Yeah,
right?
It can't be that good.
Yeah, that's the mentality. Yeah. Well, what do you mean? That's not country music. If it's
they're not top 40. They can't be.
If it's, you know, it's not one on, you know, whatever the country music station was back in Georgia at the time. I've never heard of it. So whatever. And, so I just found it kind of funny because she's telling me about going to all these shows and I understand the culture that is Red Dirt, going to the live shows. I understand that now, and I could not understand it then.
Oh, no, not until you see it, yeah.
And so I hadn't been to a show yet or any of that stuff, and she just has this plethora of information, and that being her favoriteest band in the whole wide world. I mean, her and her daughter went to Chicago to go see their last show at Joe's Bar. You know, she's a super fan. So I thought she was just a crazy psycho stalker person, because who does that to somebody you never heard of? But that was the world I sort of lived in. And so, yeah, greatest ever. And there's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So what you got?
1999, I'd just gotten divorced and moved from Los Angeles back to Houston. I had a roommate, and I had a coworker who mentioned these artists that I'd never heard of before, and said, "You got to go check out this person. So I went to Cactus Records in Houston and bought 2 CDs. And I'm going to mention both of them, but I'll save it for. I had a CD player in my car, which in 1999 was a huge big deal. I had some anger, so I'm going to go buy some stuff and put a CD player in my car.
Detachable face and everything. And
I played the CD on the way home, and I got to the song and got to the parking lot, and I sat there for 3 hours listening to this one song over and over, like, how has this been out in the world and I not know? And it was Traveling Soldier by Bruce Robinson. And that whole album is just,
I know this story.
It's just so ingrained in my soul that whole his first debut album, that I've got goosebumps talking about it. That's my introduction to this whole world, was that somebody could write a song that was like a movie, and led me to everything else. But that's really when we talk about this list, that's where I started, is that every album since then can be on my list that he's written of my favorite albums, but that songwriting that he has is just, that's it. That's
where it started.
That's what I'm searching for.
That's a great one.
Yeah, because you make a connection to a song, and that's the reason the cucumber thing with her is I kind of related to that song, and I think that's where it's at. Is you make something in that. You don't sit in a parking lot for 3 hours,
right,
listening to something, unless you're crazy, insane.
I always believe that music is 95% relating to it.
And that's the conviction we talked about
5%,
earlier.
melody and stuff like that.
Our very first part, we talked about conviction.
I totally agree with you that I can listen to an album 100 times and love it, but once I see the band play it live and I connect to it and actually see this, especially when the songwriter plays it, I can see the Dixie Chicks sing it and that's great.
Yeah.
But when Bruce sings the song that he wrote and Dalton sings the song that he wrote, that's it for me. That's
I used to get mad at Cody Canada because he was so good. Whenever I see him, I'm not now.
So we got our first ones out.
There it is.
Let's go to number 2.
All right, number 2. Again, Logan Taylor showed me this one. Never heard of this band until we covered one of their songs. And he had found out about them because I believe this is correct, the first place they played in Texas was Blue Light. This band called Turnpike Troubadours. So,
well, cross him off my list.
So I've always grown up on I grew up on thrash stuff. I love bluegrass. It's like one of my favorite things on this earth. Bluegrass, and I like more of the red dirt, singer songwriter, especially when we're talking about Okies, man. Like we have great, brilliant Texas singer songwriters here, but like some of my favorites, come from there. And that's all thanks to Dalton as well.
They're on my top 5.
Tom Skinner and guys like that. I mean, like Dalton's like an encyclopedia with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
he can tell you any obscure country deal or singer songwriter fact. But he really showed me about the farm and Tom Skinner and everything. Unfortunately, that's right after he passed.
Yeah, I found out about Tom Skinner right after he passed.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, that's. This may not be true, but I feel like it's like that for a lot of artists or singer-songwriters. Really don't know or appreciate, until they're gone. But either way, Turnpike Troubadours, man. It was this, for me, especially with the banjo and the fiddle work, on their tracks mainly at that time was just, and the songwriting.
The songwriting for me on them, just
the songwriting. I was talking about that with Billie Eilish because my band's making fun of me. I did this with Beyonce too when she came out with that live Coachella thing. I flipped out over it because I love the production of it. And if you do a show in a minimal sense like we do, and there's a lot that goes on in what we do, like those big artists that have those huge shows, like everything that goes into that is insane for them to pull it off and be great. But like Billie Eilish, that was my big deal with them. My band's gonna make fun of me for this.
It's all right. I'll fight them. I'll fight. I love Billie Eilish.
When I dive in on somebody like this, it's always like 3 years late, and like everybody's like, "Dude, we've known about this." I'm like, "She's a genius."
Same. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, there's artists that come into your life or that come across your life, and you just. It's like you're saying, you're sitting in a car. For me, I found out I'll sit there and listen to a song, and right before I hit repeat, like top of my lungs, I'm like, this song is so good. Like, so good. Just those type of artists. And Turnpike, for me, I hadn't been waiting up till midnight for an album to come out for a long time. Like, most of the artists I loved, were already dead and gone, like blues players and stuff like that. And, Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that, like they're all dead and gone. So Turnpike, midnight, waiting for that album to come out and see what they're gonna do next.
That's a good one.
That one, and I always tell people that one and Ray Wiley Hubbard's, the mix of the two is just. Logan showed me that stuff, and I was like, wait, there was this red dirt Texas thing, whatever you want to call
crazy,
it.
Right?
Call it whatever you want. I don't.
And that's the reason I kind of go red dirt because you smell Okies.
Well, the best one is you don't know what to call them.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix, like, what was Hendrix? Can you explain to me what Hendrix was? Because I've never figured this out. He was blues, he was rock, he was R&B, he was funk before funk was even around.
Come on. Yeah, but nobody knows what kind of box to put it in. We got to put stuff in boxes.
Just like Baxley, I got Lily and the Implements. I mean, we all of those bands that you just love because they're not in a box.
Yeah, those bands are bigger than the box.
So who's next?
You, number 2.
Number 2, right along the same time, without a doubt, Jason Boland, the Stragglers.
Wow.
Got a chance. We seen them in Peachtree Tavern before Peachtree Tavern turned down. I think we seen them at Peachtree Tavern, seen them at Blind Horse in Greenville, South Carolina, and I think we've seen them at Georgia theater in Athens. But bowling was, before I found, I knew ragweed was kind of the rock and roll side of it, but that was the only rock and roll I really knew of it. And I was digging country pretty good. And as far as I was concerned, bowling was the epitome of country. And
that's a cool cross for you because like bowling, I've been fortunate to find out with Dalton, like when we were doing the opening stuff for bowling, one of the biggest punk fans.
Yeah, right. And
dude, that guy loves punk, and he can talk about punk with you all day.
Yeah,
like,
and I kind of know some of that, and that was learning some of that at the time. I was kind of a draw.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah, and just I like pretty much everything he did. I like the presence he had. He sort of, to me, that sort of George Strait kind of set the stage for what a country music singer should look like, I guess. And bowling didn't exactly fit that mold. And for what I was learning at the time about red dirt, essentially, to me is what I would kind of expect country to look
Bowling's
like.
one that I didn't get until I saw him live, and I got him 100%.
No,
I was like,
I got it on the recorded stuff, and then I got it on the recorded live albums. I heard the studio stuff first, and then Melissa says, all that's really, really great, but you need to you need to listen to the live stuff.
Yeah.
Then actually getting to see them live. So that's what I got. That's my next one.
I'll go next. Number 2. I didn't know too much about the band. I'd heard their album, didn't make the emotional connection until I saw them live. But when I saw the Damn Quails, it changed my world.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Down the Hatch is another CD that's just my soundtrack. I have listened to something off that CD every day since I got the CD at that show. Got to talk to Brian and Gabe and met half of his band and followed him around like a puppy for a couple years. And
I will tell you, he was genuinely heartbroken. You and I had become friends by this point, and they broke up.
Yeah.
And dude was genuinely heartbroken.
It was tough. It was a tough day when I found out that they weren't going to tour for a while, because that's the one I look forward to every time they came. But just you mentioned Tom Skinner, and listening to the Quails, that's how I found out about him, because they all have tattoos when he passed. And so anything that they listen to, I'm going to go find and try to, I study, and how did they become such great songwriters? Yeah. And I'm glad that they're still playing. They don't come to Texas as often. I'm always a day behind whenever he plays with Jamie Lynn or something. Ryan and
Jamie Lynn.
By the way, Jamie Lynn, if she doesn't have a restraining order out on me, I'm obsessed with finding her.
Oh, dear Jesus. All right. Let's just save that.
Go on to number 3.
Oh, my God. Number 3. Whenever I found Red Shahan. That gets you again?
That was my next one.
Sorry.
That was our big one in Lubbock. That was our hero coming up.
I thought, what is this? But he's one of those ones, full band or just acoustic. Just acoustic. Is one of those people, but I guess I found him with
Coyotes.
Yeah, that one. I like Room 313.
I'm gonna do you a favor. You should look up Red and the Vitals. That was his very first band.
In the Vitals.
Yeah, you remember that song we used to cover with Dalton, Eastside River Snake?
Yeah,
that's a Red Shahan song.
You know what? I listened to that.
Red and the Vitals. Yeah. When I first found out about Red, he was with Six Market at that time. He was playing keys and singing.
Yeah, holy crap! I forgot. And I knew that. I didn't even know Six Market exists. I didn't know what
not
Six
until
Market.
Dalton showed me. Dalton showed me. I was like, "What is this?"
Well, that was because of Mike Stanley. And,
yep.
Is how I come about Six Market.
I saw a show at Chef's, and it was co-headliners Six Market and Whiskey Myers.
Wow. Well, so was Red Shahan with them then?
I don't know. I'm going to go look at the picture. I don't even remember if I took pictures of that show.
He was playing keys and singing.
I think it was before I had a camera. So
how about that? And I remember, and I was so jealous. People that I don't know how they got them, but you could get like a room key. It had 313 on it, and you remember back in the day before you had cards, they had like these key rings, and the little tag. Just a little ring and I think it was a little yellow tag or something, had 313 on it. Remember seeing a picture of somebody having some merch like that.
That's
great marketing. Just slimy, grimy guitar licks that I listen for in music, which has kind of led me down some paths to find some other pretty amazing artists.
Talk about a band, dude. Like Red when you were coming up in Lubbock at the time that we were with Dalton and Cleto and all those guys, Randall and all the No Dry County boys and all that stuff, like Red Shahan. If Red Shahan was playing 100 miles from there, you were going.
You were going.
Yeah. And,
I love artists like that.
When he played Lubbock, I don't know if they did it at all shows, but when they played in Lubbock, they had Red come to the front, Electric, and play Eastside River Snake. And me, Levi, Dylan, and Dalton, Irish stepped up and down, just jumping up and down for Eastside River Snake because it was a banger and just like it was everything that I was into that I had no idea that was a part of this scene. Yeah.
We're doing that.
This is our show, damn it.
My number three. My number three was going to be Red Shahan, so that worked out.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Especially influence-wise, especially coming from Lubbock and the Blue Light, William Clark Green. That live show, and we talked earlier about, singers that full band is this just big old thing. It's a monster. Sound. Yeah, it's amazing. One of your best shows you're going to go see, but you go see Will acoustic.
And you still walk away and you go, dang, that's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. In a completely
different way. And I'm happy now that he did those, the Cheatham album. And he did the Green Hall album. Yeah. So you get a taste like people that haven't been able to see a show, the live band, and it's big energy. Josh Serrato and Steven on guitars. Talk about duos.
Steven.
Talk about duos. Steven Marcus and Josh Serrato.
I won that one last week.
If we're talking albums, Rose Queen, that album just...
I think that was the one that kind of blew it just out of proportion.
Yeah.
If you were in Lubbock and didn't know who William Clark Green was, like it was.
He was under rock.
And like even then, his career was even long before.
Melissa's back there singing along to everything. He's got some of the best lines and songs.
Oh yeah.
Just for songwriting.
Writer, man.
Yeah. Well, without a doubt. Come on, what you got?
The night that I got the Bruce Robertson CD, I bought another CD, which was Pat Green. And it was the Live at Billy Bob's CD. But the next day, I went out and bought everything that he had. And for me, Carry On is the album for me. But that really introduced me to the energy that we talked about. Pat at his best or his worst is still one of the best performers.
Hands down, ever. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I was late to Pat Green, honestly. I was real late on Pat Green. Again, it's one of those artists that I had to see live first, and then I understood, like, where he was getting at with the music. That's on me. That's not on him. That's on me. So number four. Really, I got to go with it. Jonathan Tyler and the Northern Lights.
Good call.
They, especially younger in my career, like Nick J on bass. I was very, very fortunate in Dalton's band. He produced Corners.
I met Nick J.
Oh, dude,
he's done the mastering on Mike Stanley's new album.
Yes. Which I love that because
have you heard
matchup.
That?
I have. Mike's my one guy I go to in Waco, man. Because
this fool over here.
I can't wait for y'all to have him on here because that dude has some stuff.
Every year I find a band, and it's kind of that year of that band. Dalton one year. Brendan Ryder one year, Lily and the Implements last year. This year, I told Mike Friday, I think it's the Mike Stanley year.
So back to Jonathan Tyler.
I was really late to Jonathan Tyler.
Yeah.
Just recently discovered all of their stuff.
Yeah. Nick J, like I said, we got to work with him on Corners with Jay Saldana. He was Will's drummer coming up. He was Wade Bowen's drummer coming up. Those two together. But Nick J, man, I tell everybody this story a million times. Is I go to this show and there's this guy, man. He had a V-neck dang near to his belly button. This is rock and roll, just fur on his chest, like 14 necklaces. I'm over exaggerating, but he had gold necklaces on, had a cool hat on, had his Converse on, and he looked the part. He had the energy for the part, and he had the skill set to back it. Him and Seth Ramirez from Randall King were two of my first guys that I looked at, and I was just like, man, like those guys. But Jonathan Tyler and them, man, they just put on a show that just like it left you literally breathless. Not just like emotionally, just you're exhausted afterwards because you've been yelling and jumping up and down and dancing, and made me believe him even more in the singing because
they sucked you
they
in.
didn't play one country song, but like, you know, they were playing, you know, like Billy Bob's and stuff.
Yeah. Tim, you're next. Number 4.
Callahan Divide.
Oh, nice.
Callahan Divide.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Pulled that one out quick.
I knew when we started talking about this, I thought about them earlier, and then I thought, man, aliens and ice cream.
Oh, dude.
Dude.
I got a fun fact for you.
Garrett Bryan, I think he split off, kind of started doing his own things. They broke up and stuff since then. And this has been a recent find. We was coming back from Dallas. We actually may have been coming back from Billy Bob's, as a matter of fact. We were coming back, and it was just some station on that they were on. Yeah. And they were doing an interview, and they're talking about, they asked them, what are you listening to right now? That's whenever I found out about Lettuce. Yeah. And that's whenever I found out about Greta Van Fleet. They mentioned, he said, Greta, he said, what do you listen to? And I thought, okay, I've never heard either one of them. Yeah. Then he played Aliens and Ice Cream live, acoustic. And I thought, what in the actual, what is this? I just got this thing cranking with this kid, you know, just kind of just moving right along with it. And then I looked up Lettuce, and I found Phyllis. I went, ooh, look at there. Yeah. I found my Walk in the Room music. That is essentially, somebody goes, well, do you have theme music? I do. And that's it. If I could walk into a room and that be playing, that's the vibe I want to sit when I walk in. You know, that's just.
Have you ever seen their music video for Pirate?
I don't think I have.
No? I played the homeless person in the video.
We're going to link that to the podcast.
Go ahead. I waited a bit more, but, you know. It was the most well-fed homeless. It's only funny because I'm in it. Like, that's the only funny part about it, because it's a brilliant song, and they actually have like a full message at the end about it, about homeless, like, you know.
Really?
And they have a link to actually. So that'd be even better. Cool. They have a link to go help, you know, with homeless.
That even more near to my heart,
when you talk about Garrett, I can't see Garrett without hugging him. Like, it's impossible. Like
he was.
I can't imagine a world where I can't hug Garrett Bryant. Like, and actually, he's got Casey Johns as a bass player right now.
He's so good. I'm a little intimidated by him, and I'm not.
Oh intimidated. No, you shouldn't. I was like, he's the biggest sweetheart.
But I guess I kind of know that a little bit, and I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. I don't want to be that fanboy kind of thing.
Oh shoot.
And so I try to be very nice, very professional and everything. And I don't always make small talk, you know, and everything, because I figure, you know, these guys got enough friends. They go forced friendship kind of stuff. And I don't want anybody to feel.
That's the guy to talk to, though, man.
I don't want anybody to feel obligated have to talk to me, and I don't want to invade private, personal space. And he's one of those people that I will always respect that, because I just dig the craft.
That's amazing you do that, but you should definitely talk to Garrett.
Next time push myself on.
Just be like, go up to him and be like, just give him a hug. Just randomly, just give him a hug and be like, Moad says he loves you.
I will do that without a doubt.
He's ridiculously talented. Like keys, guitar, bass. He was the bass player for Callahan.
Yeah.
Like bass, you name it.
And it's so, and he's one of those places. He's one of those guys that just kind of.
He just
transcends.
Yeah, he feels it.
So that's what I got. It's Callahan.
Right, so
you're up for 4.
Number 4. This one's really kind of easy. One of the more recent ones, Dalton Domino. We're talking singer-songwriter. Yep. When y'all played Chefs the first time, that was that come to Jesus moment for me. That, oh my God! And really what changed everything was after y'all played O'Brien's in Temple one night. Yeah. Bo sent me a link to Corners before it came out, and I listened to it on the way home at 2 a.m. on empty streets with that first. The River song and listened to that 6 times before I went to bed that night, and realized, oh my God, this is anybody that can put their life in the songs, and you can hear, you know more about Dalton Domino after you listen to Corners.
Yeah.
Than I know about most of my friends.
Yeah.
That's I respect that so much that it's really a diary. I think Corey Morrow is kind of that way indirectly.
And that's one of Dalton's big time, like influenced by.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's good to know.
Oh, Pat's his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But listening to Dalton Domino's music, you get to know Dalton Domino. And now that I've met Dalton a few times, I that backs that up. That's and know the struggles and the journeys he's been on. It's reflected in the music, and that's just so cool to me.
Absolutely. We talked about relating to music and how important that is. Like I think from a fan basis, everybody's different, but I relate to a lot of things that Dalton's written, and I understand, I was there 6 years, so I understand what he was going through at those times. But like I had gone through similar stuff, and I think that was a lot. That's my favorite part of writers is just Rustin Kelly is one of my favorites. Casey's husband.
Yeah, he played Coke Fest a couple years ago.
Oh man, he's deep. He's a Ryan Adams-esque for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he has that sad music. I love sad singer-songwriter stuff. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel happy.
That's why I remember Rustin. He was a little out of place on the festival stage for Coke Fest, but I'm so
jealous you guys see him.
I was so drawn to what he was saying.
Yeah, man. It's that kind of stuff. And with Dalton, like I've always said that it's just like, especially the breakup stuff, or especially the hard times, things that you have to kind of pull yourself out of. Like he lived that, and he lived it on paper.
Right.
He still is. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Songs from Exile is the most personal album I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, he took his he waited on that one. He took his time on that one.
Yeah,
sure. All right. So go for number 5.
Number 5.
Make it a good one.
I'd have to say guys like Eric Willis, honestly, like that was one of those at Blue Light. All of these I'm giving you are from Blue Light because that's
where you connected.
That's why it's tattooed on me. Is like to remember is that place is the soul. Y'all did the what's your favorite venue, and that me and Bo share the same one because Mags is Mags, and Blue Light it's an energy thing, and it's everybody's there for the same reason and music and all that stuff. But Eric Willis, like coming up, him and Grady Spencer. I think I'm going to tie both of those two.
Spencer.
Yeah, I think I'm going to tie those two together just because like they're their own style of music. You know what I mean? Like you can call him R&B because he has a R&B-esque kind of voice or a soul voice. You can call him all those things, and that's all well and good. But like I just kind of call him a writer and a performer and a singer.
Yeah.
But I would loop both those in there. But Eric Willis, like watching him come up and like just kind of watch him from afar about everything he's done and the type of musician he is. That would definitely probably have to be my number 5.
Good call. Good list.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, wrap it up over here.
I've kind of went back and forth with this in my head because I don't know that it necessarily fits all the way, but I think it kind of does very much as Whiskey Myers.
Yeah. That's who I thought he was going to just name.
I was really on the cusp of it, but I was a little late to Whiskey Myers as well.
Yeah, I think I kind of was too, but whenever they come along, the first time I seen them, I don't remember if I seen them down at Chef's or if we had seen them in Waco. I remember the first time, and I talked about them a little bit last week, and I'll just leave the presence part from the last show.
Yeah.
You can go back there and, just the presence, talking about the guitar players.
Oh, Cody Tate, man.
Yeah.
And Jeffers. You're giving out that duo, right?
Right.
Like, and I love that. I love the duo.
And I took the duo there.
I love that.
You see a trend.
They're different. Like they're like, if you look at their stage presence, if we're going purely off of that, I mean, obviously they're different.
It's so much more than that, but but if you just went with that,
just on that,
basis. And that's where I took that last weekend. Favorite guitar players to see perform.
Cody's real tall. He's got that beard. He's got the cool hat.
Yeah,
he's got the swagger like they're 70s, talking about. Yeah, and then you got Jeffers, man, that like
to just melt your face off. Yeah, you don't see it coming.
He reminds me, like, this isn't a direct like comparison, but like he reminds me in the way that he plays like a lot of John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like,
oh wow,
I could go.
He has kind of that, you know what I mean? Like he feels it and he plays it.
Thank you. That's there's that familiar
kind of a chill, like a chill vibe, but still rocking out.
But it's still, and you just don't see it coming.
Yeah.
And very that's I don't want to, but that's kind of that familiarness that but I'm going to leave all of that. For me, I guess being kind of the rock and roll side of this thing, and I love Southern rock and roll.
Yeah,
and they very much, they encapsulate that. Yeah. I put them in the category with, Allman Brothers. I put them in there with Texas. People get a little touchy on this, but I put them, they'll be in the same playlist with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Who gets touchy about that?
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to meet these people and tell them they're wrong.
I don't want anybody to make the conclusion that I would group anybody with Stevie Ray Vaughan. No, because I know he stands very much on his own.
But he's got a statue in Austin. He's Texas music. Yeah. We're gonna be okay.
Okay, good. Yeah. But they fit with Leonard Skinner. They fit with the Doobie Brothers. They fit. But they still fit with the Rolling Stones.
Yep. Right.
You know what I mean? And they still fit with. To me, they still fit with Led Zeppelin. They still fit with AC/DC, and they still fit with what. But they are now. Yeah. They're now. You understand? And but they bring something very familiar to me for what I feel like is an era of rock and roll. I feel like Whiskey Myers has a lot to do with that existence.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so number five. I had a lot of names got dropped, and they're all deserving of the list. Keeping it personal, first time I heard Brandon Ryder, it was one of those changing, especially the Conviction album with Freeze Frame Time, and goes back to a little bit of Dalton that he just writes what he feels. And it sounds different than everybody else in a good way. Yeah. Sounding different than everybody else is not always a good thing. In Brandon Ryder's case, I think it's a great thing. Yeah. It sounds like he's sitting on his back porch singing a song about what he's watching, which is exactly what Freeze Frame Time is. Yeah. And he can sing. And he was sick for like 6 years, and they couldn't diagnose it, and had to go to some different doctors and start from scratch. And he has a bunch of food allergies, and they thought it was Lyme disease for some time. And he just got healthy again and got his voice back. And I've gotten to know him. He lives near us down in Salado. He brings his family and his kids, get up on stage at Shep's, and I got to know his wife and his 2 kids, and they know me now enough not to run when the big fat guy with the camera comes running. And so it's just fun hanging out with him, and it's really what we're doing now, just hanging out with the people that inspire us. And that's my number 5. And it's a good one.
By the way, I wanted to tell you, I love your like pictures that you do with your family. Like, it is some of my favorite things, especially when like it's your daughter driving. Like, I love those so much.
So I'm old enough now that I've lost all humility. So anything goes now. That's what you learn as you get older. Is I don't care if somebody thinks I'm being stupid.
No, I love it.
I'm still young enough. I care. And we go places together. I cannot embarrass him, and it sort of takes the fun out of it. But I can't. I can't. Listen, the guy walks around McDonald's in a Santa Claus.
I've got limits,
but he's not allowed near Jamie Lynn Wilson or elementary schools anymore. But whatever, it's still fun. No shame, and I love it.
No shame.
I contacted you really early, and we tried and just wanted to do it. And I'm glad we kind of waited until we had all of this and we could do it.
We hope this turns into something good and it's not crappy.
Yeah. And
I saw Bose. It was great. I thought Bose was amazing.
It was all right.
Yeah. So we're about to run out of batteries.
So let's go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Real quick, I want to do a shout out to Quade Addison.
Quade Things Podcast.
He gave us a shout out this week that he saw the podcast, and the way Quade talks said that he liked it.
Yeah.
And
we are very much we're fans.
I want to say this is a direct ripoff of him, with a little bit nicer language sometimes.
I mean, Thomas Mooney from New Slang, like he was doing it before Quade was. You know what I mean? So
like to find him.
That's the thing about art and like trying to do this stuff and y'all's message and everything else of getting the instrumentalists out and just diving more into the scene. Yeah. Like that's more important than like who did it. But we're not hipsters.
So I will tell you,
we're not hipsters. I did it first.
I'm not as familiar as Steve is with them really, because I don't generally go looking to see what other people do because I don't want to know what somebody else does.
Yeah.
Well, let me say when we started doing this, I wanted to see who else was doing stuff
see, I
like
want to
that.
see it now.
So I made a list of the people I want to talk to.
Quade does his completely different,
Right.
so like it's fine.
I'm good with that.
I did a list
I just
of who
don't
I
want to
want
be
to talk to.
influenced
His
by
is a little
somebody
bit
else's
crazier.
way. I want to
His
do it
is a little
mine.
bit crazier.
Everybody that Quade has interviewed is pretty much on my list.
Yeah.
So
Well, no, that's the scene though. I mean, like it's the same as like a radio
right.
DJ. Like they.
Why don't we just skip that? Why don't we just have Quade?
We're look, Quade, you're invited.
That way, I would love to see that.
That'd be a great.
Here's what I think we do. Let's Quade, if you're open for it.
We can do this at any location.
I'll tell you right now which one you should do. John Fulbright plays all the time at the Mercury in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Talk about, do you know what John Fulbright is?
I do.
Oh boy!
Talk about singer-songwriter.
Oh boy!
Oh my God!
So follow the Mercury.
There's the goosebumps again. So,
Well, that's us right there,
yeah.
man. I think that's the time. We'll see if we can't make it happen. So thank you for hanging out with us.
For Hello Texas, I'm Steve.
I'm Tim.
I'm Moad.
So long, Texas.
Bye, Texas.
So long, Texas.